Dr. Bashir is in the turbo lift moving towards Ops, but suddenly finds himself on a starship with red alerts sounding and Starfleet officers are hurrying all over the place, and he realizes they're under attack. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Seventh Rule with Sirach Lofton.
Hello.
We're also joined by Be Kind merch wearer Melissa Longo.
Hello.
Sporting the red. My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we are joined by Mr. Ethan Calk. You know him for his 2 writing credits on Deep Space Nine, one for Children of Time and one for Visionary, and almost one for this episode we are about to discuss. Hello, Ethan, and thank you so much for your time today.
I can't do that very well, sorry.
That was perfect.
That was great,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So, you guys want to just jump into this one? I gave a little teaser at the beginning here. Okay. So, everybody at home, these are just fun little pitches that we are submitting to you 25 years after Ethan submitted them to Star Trek. And they were like, dude, this is awesome. But, and then fill in the blank. And it never ended up quite making the show. But this is for your headcanon. This is a lost episode. And it is called, let's pull it back up. It is called In My Life, which is really cool for those of you that like the Beatles. It was pitched to Ron Moore in January of 1997. So that was season 5.
Something like that,
Second half of season 5, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So this might have been picked up for like early season 6 or season 6 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Dr. Bashir is in the turbo lift moving towards Ops. As he arrives, however, he finds himself on a starship. A red alert is sounding, and Starfleet officers are hurrying about. He realizes that they're under attack, and he overhears something about the Borg. Finally, one crew member looks at him pleading and calls him Commander Sisko.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
And then that's when they break to the theme song. We're like,
whoa.
I have questions.
Yeah.
The Borg and Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday.
Maybe so.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
It's getting good.
So we come back from, because that's got to be where the first break is. That's brilliant. They're like, please, we need you, Commander Sisko, and they're like, what? Cut. Okay, so it continues. Right about that time, things shift, and he finds himself looking at Ops. He is very confused. Whatever happened to him was very real, and it seemed to be a scene from Captain Sisko's life. When he asks Sisko about it, however, Sisko can't seem to remember anything about being on a ship that was attacked by the Borg. This is odd because everyone knows about Sisko's time on the Saratoga. Dax offers to investigate. So that's another interesting mystery because we know that he lost Jennifer Sisko at the Battle of Wolf 359 against the Borg. That was the whole opening of Emissary, the pilot episode. And Bashir is saying he believes that he was just living in that moment as Sisko, and Sisko himself has no recollection of this.
Interesting. This is this is one of those things.
One of those thinkers.
I have a question.
Okay.
If Julian is in Sisko's body, will Sisko speak with a British accent?
I hope not.
That could be down the line a little bit. We'll see.
I want to hear Sisko.
I thought you were going to say who's in Bashir's body, but
I'm just going to keep reading.
The questions keep coming.
I just want to hear Captain Sisko say, "My word." And so we know Jadzia is also confused by this. Like, she's not looking at Bashir like he's crazy. She's looking at Sisko like he's crazy because she's saying she's going to investigate. So she's on the side that we're all on, basically. Meanwhile, Worf is in the holosuite in a battle program. Seconds later, he finds himself in a classroom with a Starfleet medical logo on the wall. A professor is lecturing him about post-ganglionic nerves.
Whoa.
Oh, well, there's our answer.
Whoa.
After a moment of total confusion, he is suddenly facing a deadly enemy once again. So does that mean Worf was in Bashir's?
Bashir.
Because we remember Bashir getting that question wrong on purpose back in the day.
Right.
Cool. Very interesting. Deep cut.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
This continues with several of the crew. Kira finds herself standing in a wedding ceremony next to Keiko, who is repeating her vows. Quark finds himself on an operating table and sees a doctor placing a Trill symbiont in his stomach.
Whoa.
Jake is working behind Quark's bar. It is now evident that many of the crew members are experiencing memories of other crew members. And Rom is there's no Rom, but that would be fun.
That would be.
I can only imagine Quark getting his stomach cut open, and going like, "Ah!"
I know. Whoa.
Rom falls in love with Melora. Okay. But the disturbing part is those memories seem to be erased from their hosts. O'Brien can't recall his wedding day. Dax can't remember receiving her symbiont, etc. This memory changing continues, and soon some of the crew can't seem to remember how to do their jobs. Bashir seems lost in the infirmary. Worf accidentally fires a torpedo towards the wormhole. Kira can't find her quarters. It seems almost everyone is losing some or most of their memories. So that's really interesting. So every time somebody jumps into another person's memory, that memory is gone from them.
Wow. I like this episode. I like this episode. And I like that I get to own the bar.
Yeah. You get to talk to Morn.
Yeah.
You tell me what that is. Where does he keep that latinum? Let's see.
Let me pour myself a drink. I've earned it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Soon, the situation also affects the station. Since no one seems to know how to operate the equipment, environmental controls go offline, turbo lifts stop functioning, the computer core begins crashing. They know they must find the cause soon, and they realize they have literally changed roles as their memories have been exchanged. So they use their new expertise. Bashir is now an engineering expert. Quark offers brilliant scientific ideas. And Jake gets everyone drunk. I added that part, etc. In these new roles, they find the cause. That is really interesting.
That is very interesting. And I have a question. What about Odo, since he's not humanoid?
That I had not even thought of. I figured, once we start working the story out, that detail would fit in, because I kind of did it generic, this is happening to everyone type of thing. So that's not something I really fleshed out for the pitch. So yeah, that's a very good question.
How cute would it be if Odo suddenly is being taught how to read by Jake Sisko, right? And then like when everything comes back and they all have, at the end of the episode, Odo kind of looks over at Jake sitting up there up at the promenade with his feet dangling with Nog, and he looks up there and he kind of goes, like a little like, oh,
Yeah.
I like, all right, that kid's not so bad kind of thing,
And now that you mention it, I can also see Odo shapeshifting into the person where nobody else would. You still see Worf acting as the doctor or whatever, but then Odo would shapeshift. I think that would be kind of funny. So again, something I did not think about, but that's some great ideas.
So it continues. They find the cause, and that is some kind of bioneural cloud has passed through the station. By the way, that is somebody that knows Star Trek. If you say some kind of or some sort of, that's in every Star Trek episode. So if you say some kind of, you know what you're doing. Okay, so it's some kind of bioneural cloud that has passed through the station. Somehow the particles of the cloud feed on thoughts, moving from planet to planet, from host to host, existing on the particles of the brain that store memories. And somehow, when they move to a new host, they are literally taking the memories and moving them to a new host. As they are investigating, the power core starts to overheat and a breach is imminent. No one can seem to remember how to shut the core down or eject it. For some reason, those memories are still floating around somewhere, and the station's destruction is only minutes away. So it's kind of like almost they're sitting there going like, all right, who has the memory? Who got the memory?
Knows how to do this?
Yeah. Molly, what did you learn today, Molly?
It's Rumpelstiltskin.
All right.
Yeah.
So it ends like this. Just in time, they find a way to track and retrace the paths of the particles and use a modified tractor beam to move the cloud particles and place each memory back into the original host. The breach is halted and the cloud is forced away from the station and moves on. Now, Ron's comments were, though he liked the role swapping of the characters, he said they'd done too many episodes where the crew is controlled by aliens or other foreign entities. So it's another one of those things where they love the idea, but they're like, it's too close to something we did recently or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I like that one.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Yeah.
Well,
But you know what? They always say that, by the way, and then they end up doing another idea that's close to the idea that they're really
Right.
You're like, well, why didn't you use mine?
I know. I've actually had that happen to me. And it's like, okay, it's close. I can see, I can see where they could have, in the back of their mind, hey, let's do this idea, and not remembered that it was a pitch, because they just listen on the phone or listen to you talk, and if they don't like it, it kind of goes away. So 2 years later, they could think of something, and it could have been something that was planted there a long time ago. So who knows?
It'd be really cool if our buddy Ira Stephen Bear or Robert Hewitt Wolf or maybe Ronald D. Moore, one of them is watching this and they go, oh yeah, I remember that one. That was really good. And they kind of go like, maybe we should have done that one. That's kind of fun. Actually, that kind of, or they go, no, I remember discussing that. We said we couldn't do that because this or that, it'd be fun if it actually kind of jogs their memory about something from 25 years ago.
Right. Right.
Did you want to share your thoughts on this? You also had some additional thoughts.
Yeah, I did. So I pitched this to Voyager about a month earlier.
Right. It works for anybody. Yeah.
They were to go.
Yeah.
And I pitched it to Joe Manoski, and he liked it a whole lot, probably more than Ron did. But he said he thought it would be too expensive to do it right, because they would have to build a bunch of new sets for where Chakotay was or where Janeway was in the past.
Right.
And, so that's why I said, okay, well, maybe it'll work for Deep Space Nine, because you could just go back to things that happen on the station, like Jake being in the bar instead of somewhere on Earth, and having to build a set for it. So,
wow, it does feel like more of a Voyager episode. You're right, but thinking like a producer, feasibly and money wise, like you're right that like you try to put it all onto one set. That's really interesting.
Right. So I mean, it money wise, budget wise, it worked way better for Deep Space Nine, but like he said, too many episodes where they're controlled by aliens. So, which it really wasn't. They weren't controlled by aliens.
Yeah.
They were just affected by aliens. But hey,
Right.
that's
Interesting.
So that doesn't do any good to argue with them. He said, but wait, they're not being controlled. And they'll, that'll be the last time you pitch.
They're like, yeah, not this guy again. He yells at us.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Man, I feel like we could just like play with these ideas forever. Like look at Melissa's eyes. She's like, yeah, I wonder if maybe Enterprise.
Well, well, it could work for any of them, really.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have to make it so it affects your more of a short-term memory than maybe the long-term memory, so that you wouldn't have to build extra sets.
Right.
What would be even funnier is if 2 years from now we see this as the plot of a Discovery episode. We'd be like, we know where you got this.
I hope Ethan's getting his check.
I will send this video to them.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah,
all right.
A timestamp.
Well, a time crystal, right? So, well, thanks, Ethan. This is always so much fun with you. We really appreciate you taking the time and opening up your notes and, taking us on a trip down memory lane, because this is great stuff for us. And everybody at home, just because they couldn't afford to build all the sets doesn't mean it didn't happen in our head canon. This was, season 3, episode 27.5 was this one.
There we go.
Well, thanks very much. This is great, Ethan.
Sure. I loved it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah. And everybody at home, by the way, in the comments, tell us what you think of this episode and what season do you think this fits in, and what you think of it. What, take it a few steps further. Have fun with it. It never aired, so we can do whatever we want with it. Just remember where you got the idea from, Ethan Calk.
Yes.
All right. So everybody at home, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And Ethan, you're the best. For Melissa Longo, myself, Mr. Sirach Lofton, and of course, the fellow behind myself and Melissa, Mr. Aaron Eisenberg. Thank you to Ethan. Thank you to you at home. And always remember the 7th rule.